Okay. I was going through the data set, and we need to see if somebody has to create their own, thought of lane in terms of understanding POS. That is, in many words, POS can be anything and everything. Um, the easy way out is to look into the POS of the patent application, and particularly the unpublished one, because that makes more sense. Because anybody can write anything, because provision itself is never published. Now, this insight of provisional patent applications are never published. The good thing is the Indian Patent Office have recruited people who are going through each and every provisional. They are going through each and every Indian patent agent, what they have done, and particularly, obviously, the primitive years of, I mean, 2000 plus. I mean, from the year 2000, probably they're going to 1999. But if I have to create the pause for today, it would be going back to the year 1933. So that is basically Ein. Just give me a moment. Okay. Okay, fine, perfect. So you have to go to Ein, and when Ein itself is written 9 times, that is the second one. 33. So you have to go back to 1933. And when you go back to 1933 itself, you have to retrieve the patenting stuff, particularly from the EPO. Because in the EPO database, you are going to see a lot of patent application, particularly in the mechanical sector. And that is something I wanted to wish to discuss. So I'm looking at this article, what the Indian patent agents are doing. Let me just appease everyone and let me tell them, how these people work. So there's an interview, or not an interview, it's an article, exclusive how Air India flight black box was damaged and what comes next. Just imagine we don't know the editor and all that stuff. We don't need to know. What is important here is to look into whatever is in, the short forms. So something is called as DFDR, that is Digital Flight Data Recorder. Now this whole concept of digital flight data recorder, if you go back in 1933, look at the patent applications, you would realize that this 4-letter word has been utilized in different ways. And that is how, the Indian patent agents are creating their own ruckus in terms of creating that dark web. And the same was reported to the Indian Patent Office. I met with the examiner today. I walk her through the applications, and all the patent agents, including me, are being derailed because we really don't need Indian patent agents. That is my submission. Now, what does the call of the international officers and WIPO people? That is another thing, because out of how many 1.4 billion, if we think we are 1.4 billion accounted and unaccounted for, there are only less than 3 to 4,000 alive patent agents. That is my calculation. I might be right, I might be wrong. The point of contention here is, how can somebody even say that these people are more intelligent than the others? That's the question we need to answer. Having said that, just revoking all the Indian patent agents, at least maybe for next 5 years, 10 years, because this is what the these agencies are playing, and particularly the dark web people. So there are a lot of people in the Indian patent agents, excluding me, because I'm a cert. I have been representing India since very beginning, since 2006, and I went for the cert are people who are cybersecurity people who can just look into the data set and say what went wrong, give different hypotheses, and we can get things done in a very fast, speedy manner in terms of DAO. And that is how the importance of DAO comes into existence. So the 4-letter word, you need to look into 1933 particularly, and like to see if something was filed in 1933, particularly with the Indian Patent Office, because, oh my gosh, searching on the Indian Patent Office database is another miracle altogether. Next is CVR. CVR stands for Cockpit Voice Recorder. However, if you go to CVR in terms of applied materials, semiconductors, particularly looking into the patenting landscape of companies like Applied Materials, Nvidia, and all, you will understand this nexus is not only happening from now; it is happening way back. Then we have another 4-letter word comes into picture is AAIB, or you can AAIB is equal to JOSH. So all these, TIE events, Josh events, and all these have featured startups, which on the face of it looks very, miraculous. They have solved some basic problems, and if they have solved those basic problems, they can always connect with the ITU. ITU has so many courses. Go through those courses, and then you can know what you need to know. That's how it works. Now, in this particular case, what I'm trying to refer is to look into the data set of NTSB. If you go back to 1933, particularly look into the NTSB in terms of the botany aspect and the bio aspect, because BLAST as such, when you talk about, biostatistics and stuff, it is nothing but ATGC, which again, if somebody understands bio, you will understand immunoglobulins and why it has no sense altogether. And yeah, I think something else is just okay. Even look into this four letter word DGCA. DGCA here refers to Directorate General of Civil Aviation, but look into the data set of 1933. And if I have to take another data set, I'll take 2006 minus 1933. That way you'll get a better insight as to what is happening, and that will give you a little bit more insight in solving these problems, because the Indian patent agents are working, except me, because I'm a CERT. Again, CERT is a person who is into cybersecurity, international cybersecurity. So except me, all others, from the maybe the old people to the newbies, whosoever they all have to be questioned. They all have to go through the process of the rigorous compliance of what should be complied as what is required to be an Indian patent agent, because Indian patent agent is not supposed to do dark web stuff, and dark web stuff is done by the Indian patent agents and the others and the associates. They have to be questioned in different ways, because although there's a very thin line of difference between technology, law, and business, the underlying fact is it happens over the portal, which is internet, and internet takes internet very seriously. I mean, ITU takes their law abiding bodies. These are law abiding bodies, and nobody should be using that platform to, send derogatory remarks in whatever way possible. Even if these enterprises don't even understand the cognizance of what internet is capable of doing, and internet is one of the foremost authority in terms of understanding the domain names also. Like, say for example, if I have to pick one of the pain points right now, I'll just pick up .com domain names. I mean, .com domain names have no value. So when I say it has no value, it means if you're able, you can actually buy it for free. It has no value. The point of here is there's no transaction between the domain names. That game of domain name cannot work in the new world order. Whether .net, whether this, whether that, everything is nullified. I mean, we have to be at null, and to be at null, which is just point blank zero, and God forbid anything else happens in the aviation sector, these Indian patent agents have to be questioned in and out, day in, day out, because the data set has been provided. The examiner was very kind enough to, understand my pain point, and the data set, the details, and everything. I said, not me. Except me, every other Indian patent agent needs to be questioned. They have to be grilled, because why only I was sent across to Malaysia. And let me tell you, the trip was not easy. There were folks from Facebook, there were folks from the Bollywood, there were folks from all other industries. So it was more of an orchestration rather than a creation of a data set. But yes, I came back alive. That's another miracle altogether. But this is what India did with me when I was sent as a CERT to Malaysia, which happened just before the lockdown. Thank you for watching out the video, and have a great day ahead.